Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack. We also have
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock.
today we're talking about Dan Slott's first work on Superman. That's with Ty Templeton in Superman Adventures 40. Cal pointed this out. Do you want to give us any thoughts on it initially?
No, let's just get into this.
Well, ultimately, Superman is doing stuff with his family, and at the same time, we have who is it, Mister Mxyzptlk. He's out there and he's like, "Hey, I
Whoa,
can
wait
get,
a second.
huh?"
How do you say his name? I say his name as it was pronounced in the Justice League. I never changed it from that. Mxyzptlk. I've always said,
Mxyzptlk, we can go with that too. So we go with at the same time, he's trying to get out of jail. He's stuck on his in the fifth dimension with a hottie. So why would you want to go mess with Superman? But that's an old kind of cartoon where we have a magical person and of course someone seemingly their assistant type of deal, a redhead like what's it like Wolf and Red in the cartoons. But ultimately, he has the idea: if I help Superman out, I could get out of this imprisonment. So his idea is to go into the past, and then he says he sees a young Kal-El, and sees with Crypto. He's like, I'm gonna do a good deal for Superman. I'm gonna bring Crypto to the present. So he brings him to the present. It's in Superman's house. I think what was it? Superman didn't initially remember him or something like that, and then he realizes Crypto, and then of course it's Crypto, so he's causes a lot of damage and such, and then he becomes almost a public, almost terror to all of Metropolis, leaving the what's it, the Metropolis, their special forces unit to try to stop him. But Superman's there, but I think there's something also that's driving him a little nuts from time to time. So then Superman has to figure it out, and then Mxyzptlk comes out and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing this for a good deal," and gets Superman all upset. So he's all right, I'll fix it. He brings Crystal to the past, and Superman's even more upset. But then, it resolves where Crystal obviously goes back home. So this to me was kind of like a very much like a Silver Age type story with a little more cynicism, but it's very similar to like the Bizarro's first story, where the person like Bizarro is just trying to do good, and everything is being misinterpreted. Where this is a dog, and everything is big and overblown, which is similar to what you'd see in the Silver Age, but it's a little more obviously with the military coming in to stop it. You wouldn't see that portion in the Silver Age stuff, but ultimately, but there would be people feeling like with Bizarro, where Bizarro was kind of like feeling like more trouble than he's worth. But everything Bizarro did, he was trying to do good. But overall, it's okay. So I did enjoy Superman Adventures when I checked it out. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, yeah, I think we were.
Uh, I definitely think we had different impressions on this particular issue. I found it to be, I think it was very emblematic of the approach to Superman, modern day Superman, and the approach to the Silver Age, which was that the Silver Age was this big mess of stuff that aren't we so glad that we left all of this behind? And the modern stuff, of course, is the thing that we really need to embrace, which I find to be incredibly ironic now because you had the Superman trailer, Crypto's in it. Nobody's like, oh, this Silver Age silliness, which seems to be something only comic book guys you know embrace. The general public seems to be a lot more accepting and open to this. So it's for me again, it's very, very interesting because this is the only issue of Superman Adventures where we get Crypto. And the initial time, man, I haven't read this in a while, but the initial introduction of Crypto in the Silver Age, if you juxtapose it with the modern age, Crypto, shows up, and there's not this wanton destruction. There's not this wanton destruction that happens in the modern age, where the modern age writer's approach is, well, if we get a dog here, the dog is going to cause all of this chaos and all this destruction. Whereas in the Silver Age, Crypto had greater intelligence than an average dog, so he wasn't going to do any of that. In some cases, I think, and you would point this out from time to time, Crypto even, they even gave Crypto, he would think. they would give him thought bubbles or what have you. So, we could see that Crypto was not a regular dog, that he had much, much higher intelligence than the average dog. The modern approach is that this is a little terror. Isn't it so glad we don't have this dog? Because if we did, look at all the destruction he would be doing, heat vision, just ripping everything to shreds. So I was, very, taken with that whole thing. And then at one point in the story, I think he even attacks Superman, which I mean, aside from some weird Superboy stories, I can't ever remember that occurring unless it wasn't Superman. And then the other thing was that, see, Mxyzptlk brings the dog back, and on some level, Superman recognizes this was his dog as a kid. Mm-hmm. In the Superman adventures, I think Superman's about 3 years old. That is a Silver Age staple. That he's about 3 on Earth 1. It's a Silver Age staple that Superman is there on Earth 1. He's on Krypton, so he's about 3 years of age, and then he's sent off to escape the doom of the destruction of the planet being destroyed. So he remembers Crypto. And here it seems that on some level he remembers Crypto again, but Mxyzptlk had cast a spell, so Crypto could not remain there. So eventually Crypto was just going to have to go back anyway because the spell had a limited duration. Mm-hmm. And this wrecks Superman even more. He's like, wait a second. You brought him back and knowing that he was going to have to go back again. And then we get this scene where, Superman we get the scene where he's a baby, where he's 3 years old and he's with Crypto, and you see him happy and content to have, to be sleeping with Crypto. And that's, of course, we can juxtapose that with him as, the adult Superman. And now he's somber, saddened by the fact that he, lost Crypto again. That he says, you opened up an old wound. And I was like, this is a pretty, I don't want to say dark. I don't want to say cynical, but I'm lacking other words at this point to go with this, because again, I don't disagree with you. This is closer to like a Silver Age story, but definitely with these modern age overtones that, there's no whimsy, there's no fantastic, there's no wonder that you won't pay for at the end of the day. We can't have a Kryptonian dog. Look at all the wreck and everything of that nature. And then, of course, we can throw in the pathos on Superman for good measure before we move on to the next issue. But I just saw this because they did a lot to justify mollifying Superman's history, and that a lot of the Silver Age stuff was just, no, we can't do that. It's just too crazy. And then in 2025, somehow the craziness got lifted. It's just not a problem any longer. But and again, you say that Dan Slott, you correctly say that Dan Slott did this with Ty Templeton. But if this is some of the stuff that he started off with, I'll be like, well, man, what is his actual impression of Superman? What makes his character tick? So on and so forth. So this wouldn't be a good start for me here. But again, he did co-plot this with Ty Templeton.
Yeah, for me, I didn't really. I mean, I knew that they were bringing in Crypto as far as going towards, this is his first time here, and obviously different from the original story. But the approach to him, I guess, is him initially gaining his powers and that sort of thing, which leads him to kind of bite and react and all that stuff, almost akin to what they did in the Man of Steel movie. But the bigness of it and the kind of funness of that sort of thing, and him kind of dealing with it, was the portion that was kind of more like the Silver Age, but definitely not keeping it. I mean, the other thing is we can go to, which I never connected to, Crypto when they brought him into, I don't know, in the 2000s, where he was just a dog. He was just a superpowered dog, and I was just like, well, okay, you got Crypto back, but he's just growling and doing stuff. Like, I think they had the Atlas storyline where Superman's getting beat up by Atlas, like 4 or 5 issues, and then Crypto comes, and of course Crypto is, protecting his master, and takes a bite out of Atlas. So it was that sort of thing was like, are they gonna let Crypto use his? But whereas this is kind of a mix of both. But I can hear you. What else? Yeah, ultimately I also say it's also fun seeing that one of the mainstays, because this title had obviously Ty Templeton, had what's it that Mark Miller, but also many different artists that were on that. Obviously it was Neil VOKES, And Terry Austin was the mainstay on the book as far as inking. So, from time to time, I checked out this the other part of the Superman adventures. Even though this we're totally just about Dan Slott, the one thing that we're supposed to get was Alex Ross doing an entire issue in the style of the animated thing. And I don't think he only did one cover, but he hinted that he wanted to do that. And I was just saying, hey, slip it into Superman Adventures. But of course, he only did the cover, which was a very dramatic Superman cover, which was a very good one too. So, but anyway, any other thoughts?
Well, I think that's about it. If I go on any further, it's going to go off track. So if we're just dealing with the issue, yeah, I think I'm good.
All right then. All right. Like, subscribe, and leave your comments. Spinner Rack
Out.
out.